Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Pensado's Place. We got a good one for you. You're going to meet Bear Reinhart, the front man of Need to Breathe, really dope band out of South Carolina, on tour with One Republic right now. You'll meet him in just a second, but we are really excited to introduce to you the GPU Audio Sound Design Contest. GPU is a company we love. We're going to do a lot of stuff with. And guess what they're doing for you? They're calling all sound designers, composers, producers, creators. They partnered with Dell and NVIDIA, ourselves, Mantra, and AMD to bring you the Few and the Cursed Short Film and Sound Design Challenge. That's right. Here's what we want you to do. Create an original score or sound design for one or both of the short films found at the link below. I'll call that out in just a second. And then you have a chance to win some amazing prizes, such as for grand prize winners, there'll be two, one for animatic, one for live action, and you'll win $2,000, one Dell laptop computer, an AMD Radeon Pro W6600, GPU Audio's unlimited access, Plugin Boutique and Loopmasters prize pack, Mantra IO Oracle X, and the total value of that's about $5,500, but the tools are amazing. There'll be 6 second place winners. So 3 animatic and 3 live action. You guys will get GPU Audio Unlimited Access, Plugin Boutique and Loopmasters prize pack, Mantra IO Oracle X, and that value is about $1,000. Now, important part, enter and download here, pensadosplace.magicalrealms.co. That's pensadosplace.magicalrealms.co. You see the link right there. And make sure that you get your entries in by 11:59 Pacific on October 27th so you can be eligible. Great contest, great prizing. Pensado's Place loves being involved, and we want our audience to show off. Get those scores, get those compositions in, and let's rock this. Now, to Bear Reinhart. This guy writes, fronts, produces. The band is ridiculous. They've amassed over 1 billion streams. They're on tour with One Republic. They are an independent business force. They've done it all. They absolutely rock. And we love talking to Bear, and you're going to love him too. Here he is, our conversation with Bear Reinhart. Bear, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm good. It's a day off, so feeling good.
The bad news for Bear is that it's his day off and he ends up having to deal with us. The good news is it's shorter than a dentist visit, so you'll be out of it in a second. Yeah. Bear, give us a sense of the band's reason for being. What when this band does what gives them their uniqueness? What gives you guys your uniqueness?
Yeah, I mean, we always say we write songs somewhere along in somebody's redemption story. We want to inspire people, and that might not be a spiritual thing for people. It might be a turnaround in their life, that kind of thing. And most of the story is the lead up to that, and not the actual thing. Vulnerability that it takes, to make a real change in your life, or kind of see yourself as maybe needing to make those changes or whatever, giving you the power to do it. I think we learned that just from, my dad was a preacher, grew up in a small town church, very charismatic, good band.
There it is.
Whole thing. And we always sang songs more in the way the gospel, was, where it was like, we sing these things to live, to survive. That was the sort of approach to music, when I was a kid. And that always made sense to me. As we got older, it was like, I had a hard time just going off into pop world totally, if that makes sense.
Right.
And so just trying to make meaningful music. And obviously we've been doing it for 20 years. So it changes a lot as your life changes. We sing a lot more than we started out with.
Hey, Bear, you find yourself in a position now with the band to be able to control your own destiny. Are you having fun with that? Do you think that's an improvement over the previous ways that you were working?
Yeah, I think. We always said the goal was to have some self-autonomy. I remember, like, early on when everybody was doing these 360 deals and all that stuff, it was always like, that was never on the table for us. We were always like, man, we don't want people to tell us when to tour and how. Right. And honestly, been on a major label for our whole career, it never felt, we never played ball totally, and they kind of didn't get us. It was like, you know, where this should go. So you guys tell us. So we always felt like, you know, we used A&R and all that, but for the most part, it was our call in the end. And you know, for better or worse, we've always felt you can live with a mistake that you made. It's tough. It's tough when you for people. And I think, yeah, we feel really good about it now. It's the band's, I guess, culture is just incredibly healthy. We all love music more than ever. So I would say it's nice when you actually have ideas, when you have avenues that you can pick that maybe people didn't think you should do. That's a really fun thing internally for us to kind of scheme and think about.
You described it earlier because, you know, we were talking before we came on air about Dave Cobb. And one of the things I love about Dave is this is a Pentecostal boy who still produces like he's in a Pentecostal church. He wants to sit across from the singer, look him in the eye, make everything about the vocal, and then build everything around the vocal. But it's just, if you sit in any church and you watch the choir doing what they're doing, if you sat in your dad's church, that singing, that worship at that point in time, that's where the truth comes. And the truth doesn't always fit a conventional box. It doesn't always fit a major label kind of perspective. And I'm not dissing the labels. I'm just saying sometimes, and this is, you know, what I appreciate about the band is purposeful. The band, if you listen to the single, the new single, if you listen to, there's a perspective that you guys are sharing that is unique to you. And I'm just saying, as a fan, I get the messaging. I don't know if it's Jesus. I'm not sure what it is, but I got it. Does that make sense?
Totally, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. It's fabulous. So the new single, Out and About, tell us about it. Tell people where they can find it. When I saw the mask, I was like, okay, where are we going? And then I went with it.
Yeah, it was, honestly, you know, it's one of those things. We're starting to work on a new record. We went out to Utah, to a house in the mountains. Like, we kind of like these getaway things, especially as we've gotten older. It feels like we can really break away from the families and all that and do that. So we're doing 3 or 4 of those, filming them all and that kind of thing. And we went and did the first 4 or 5 songs. And this one, honestly, Talk of the Town was the weirdest we did. Like, most different than the band. We were like, man, if we're going to release this, we don't know what the next record sounds like yet. A single feels like the right thing. We're going on this tour. It feels like a summer thing. And it's nice, obviously, after doing this for so long, we make records and our fans are kind of crazy. We always say we're the biggest band you never heard of. Our fans are just, you know, so like we feel a big pressure with records to thematically take them a place. Entire album has to speak to something that we're trying to go through. And there's this pressure of like, well, do we have that yet? And all that. So it's really nice to put a single out when you don't really know what's next exactly. And it's a fun one. And the same way with the video. It's literally like, we got 3 hours in the afternoon. Can we tape something? Order those masks off of Amazon for $20 a piece. And we're like, well, I think this is kind of like a video. So yeah, it's really
going back to Talk of the Town, the song's really well done. The video is incredible. What I like most about this song is it pretends to be a happy little song. It pretends to be a song that supposed to be liked, but man, it's a heavy message under there. heavy message, and I think that message is timely and appropriate for today's world. It's essentially,
yeah, I appreciate it.
It's stop. Yeah. The message is stop trying to be what you're not, just to enhance your self-worth. You're okay. You're good. God made you. You'll be fine. You don't have to be on checking your likes every day, you know?
Right, yeah. And I think it's easy to write songs like that if you, at least for us, like we've always said, we're never trying to teach anybody anything. It's like the last thing the song comes off that way. We're like, no, that's not. We're trying to relate, you know what I mean? And maybe our story's not the best, but it's the one we got, you know? And I feel like for us, it's a constant challenge being in music. It's just, you know, especially now in our career where you're bigger and you don't see as many fans anymore. You walk off the stage and it's like, it's silent. You know, we just play 10,000 people and you go out. It's just like, well, it's just between us. How'd that go? You know? And well, it went as good as the Instagram comments were, you know? I think that's something for us. Like it, you know, it's a lesson that obviously we've tried to learn over our whole career, but it's, you see, you can't live in Nashville and not see somebody taking a selfie of a painting on a wall, you know, or whatever it is. It's just like, man, we're missing a lot of life right now.
You know what I call it, Bear? I call it, we give a lot of talks, and the talks that I specifically give, the range of audience is usually 18 to like 50. And I always tell them you're the most disconnected, connected people in the history of the world. Like this notion that you believe you're connected, it's a false premise. You can't get context. You can't get perspective. You can't get emotional. You can't do anything. You're just relying on ones and twos that come back at you. And then you're defining your life's possibilities by that. And that's fucking crazy. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And it's not I make my living on the internet. So I'm not saying that this is some old fogey who's saying, hey, man, you know, if you don't have analog vision, you're not shit. I'm saying that you are taking your humanity and putting it on a shelf and exchanging it for something that doesn't have the same value. The priorities are messed up. And the beauty of music and the beauty of people like yourself and your group, and the courage to be who you are, both musically, independently as business people. Nobody is around for 20 years that nobody's heard of. It's quiet. Like Raj and I went and saw Phineas the other day, and we were the first person who gave Phineas a national platform. And Phineas, obviously his sister's success, Billy, is just like superstar level. But at that club, however many people in that club, they knew every song. They were stepping on your feet. They were passionate about some Phineas shit. And again, same as you, Phineas and you guys, you don't suffer fools. You don't worry about being too intellectual. You're just telling your truth. And that's why those fans connect and they go. And the lesson for the audience is find that beat inside yourself that's real. Like, it's one thing to copy other people. It's another thing to be the flavor of the month. It's another thing to be tricky. And sometimes you can have some success from that. But you connect down into the human level, and then you got a career, and then you got a statement, and then you have an opportunity. So the Herb Chalk editorial position is now over. I'm sorry I got all passionate. Plus, that is a very fly hat, and I'm pissed that I don't have it. I have a bunch of hats, but what is on being on tour with One Republic? Obviously, you know, Ryan, that's just such a seminal thing. Does that inform you about where you are? Is there stuff that you guys derive from the live audience? Give us the impact of that kind of touring.
I mean, it's interesting. It's been it was the first time we've opened a tour in 10 years, and the last one was Taylor Swift. So it's
wow.
It's a different feeling for sure. I think I walked out the first night and was just like, man, really incredibly thankful that I wasn't looking at all of our fans and nothing. Yeah. It was like, man, we really, you know, the hardest thing for this band has been to kind of get outside exposure to it. Get circle, you know, and so I think that's the way we're approaching it. And obviously, there's a lot to learn from Ryan, the dude, you know, the way he works, especially something I've always, since I've known him years ago, I was just like, man, that guy. And so I think it's challenging for our band, kind of looking at that, go like, okay, are we writing on the road? Are we doing all that we could do while we're out here? And then it takes it back to the simple things. I think, you know, it's about connecting with people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I've heard people say that about magicians or music, you know, the guitar is just a tool to like really talk to the crowd. And I feel that way more in the opening set, because you really have to convince people. I love the change in the demeanor of people, 3-4 songs in.
Yeah.
We're confident, we come out like we've played this stuff before.
Hell yeah.
Takes
Hey,
a couple.
man, it's almost impossible to keep a band together for a year. How have you managed to keep your band together for probably going on 20 years, maybe, I think?
Yeah. Man, yeah, it's a combo of a lot of things. It's one is, I think everybody that's in the band now certainly is just, we wouldn't do anything else. There's no, you guys, guys are not in it for the wrong reasons. We honestly love, we get to make a record in a house or something like that. We love those days more than anything in life. So it's like, it's vacation to us. So I think that's it really. And then another thing is just always feel like you're growing. I think we feel like the next record is going to be our best. We feel like there's stuff untapped. Like, I don't know if everybody feels that way. I feel like I meet bands and they're looking one way or the other. It's either they're looking forward to something they think that they can do that's great, or they're looking back and trying to stay in that.
What happens?
As a leader of the band, how do you keep a band together, and how many people in the band now are original?
There's still right now, really the only other guy in the band that's original is a bass player. We've had the drummer with us for almost 10 years, piano player. And then we've added a guitar player in the last, I guess, probably 4 years or so. He's played on the last couple records. I think we put a lot of attention into the culture. I've learned that from, other artists. My first question is to pretty much every band we tour with, I kind of scout out who the leader is in that band, who's the business guy, and then who's the, creative guy, and just say what's the thing, how do you do it? And the best advice I've probably been given is the culture backstage is what's on stage too. I feel like to me is where it's at. And if people feel like, I spend a lot of time with the guys just going like, hey, what do you want this record to be? What's inspiring to you? Let's all put it on a board and talk about it. Let's figure out. And so I played football in college. I'm big into coaches and those kind of things. And like Pete Carroll's always, he asks the players what the goals are. And then when they say it's this, then he holds them to it. And I think go ahead.
Just as an aside, I'm guessing outside linebacker.
I know.
Did you play in football?
I was a wide receiver, believe it or not.
Were you really? You got good hands. Got some speed.
Fast back in the day. Yeah.
My dad played pro football in Canada, so I have and here's what you'll like. If you never heard the show before, here's what you'll like. Our approach is that audio. There's no place in the world that's silent. And so there's all kinds of places that audio and music are powerful. And we also look at music as media. And so one of the things I'm doing next week is the NFL wants us to come to their studios and interview them about how they select music for the NFL. So I'll send you a link to it. And, we try to make what we do, just like you guys, we try to make it independent, our perspective, and cool as shit. Like, we look at things as to the possibilities instead of the limitations, which is what I think your band does. So now after the tour, once that's done, is it more music? Is it other opportunities? Because when you're independent, you kind of can control your rhythm.
Yeah, I think we're in this, we kind of go through cycles on records. We'll make a record that's really, I don't want to say for us, but very inwardly pointing, and last record we made was like that. It was during the COVID thing. It wasn't a plan, those kind of things. So I feel very much like, we want to make a bigger statement record, spend more time on it. And so I think that the plan right now is to go back in December and do another probably 10 days in a studio. We're trying to pick different landscapes. So we're doing we did the mountains and the snow in Utah. We're going to do stuff like that. And really just to stretch the legs as the band. It's harder, as you know, if you're a solo artist, you can kind of put together the ideas and get guys to play it. This is really like, I'm trying to get a guitar player to play parts he believes in. And that takes a little, you know? And so I think that's really what it's about for us. It's like getting into getting in that place where we're lost. We act like kids. We go to this house and play music all day long and you know, and just all night talk about it. And so that's really where this record I think is headed. So a good bit more of that time before, but probably sometimes next year, probably next summer, we'll have the record ready.
I have a request. More mandolin. I need more mandolin.
Mandolin, you got it, buddy. Yeah, we've got right now is was with Old Crow Medicine Show. And so he's violin and all the mountain instruments. He lives in West Virginia. You know, it's all about. We've always been funny. Like we've played mandola and banjos and all that, like baritone acoustic, open tunings. And all. I was a big Black Crowes fan coming up, so like I liked all Rich Robinson's, you know, open tuning, all that, and we were really just faking it. Like the first banjo track we have was a song called "The Outsiders." Became this big song for us, and I bought it literally. I went to Billy Bob's Pick and Parlor and I bought a banjo.
I love it.
You know, I brought it back and we just open tuned it. We're like, well, we can, you know, make a couple notes out of this and strum it. And honestly, it became a songwriting tool for us. A lot of those open tunings and stuff. It was just like, let's take the thinking out, see if we can, you know. So yeah, you'll get more of those. I remember when we first signed with Atlantic Records, we were coming out of South Carolina, you know, and they're like, we want you to be more international, you know, and this is all this stuff, you know. It was like they were like, don't play redneck instruments, essentially, you know.
Oh God.
Harmonica's on there, it's out, you know. It was that period of time. And along the lines, we just gave up on trying to, you know, to be something else. And so that all.
Yeah. I think this is a great time for you guys because I've never been involved in a time period where genre doesn't matter. I mean, genre went out the window with the internet. And by the way, what part of South Carolina are you from?
I grew up in Possum Kingdom, which is the upstate. It's about 100 people, country store, one stop sign. I lived in Charleston for a while after that. Went to school there in South Carolina.
Yeah, I spent some time in South Carolina. I love South Carolina.
So the production of the record, is it all the band internally? Do you guys ever reach out and
we do a lot?
Have other?
Yeah, I mean, I say this to the band all the time. We like to spend our time by ourselves and get it to where we think we can get it, and then bring some challengers in that we trust.
I see.
You know, and I think that's always a combination. It's interesting. Engineering is a massive thing for us. You know, especially and experimenting in a live room kind of way. It's like to get those tracks, you know, where they ought to be. You need somebody who can work fast, but also get the stuff you want, you know, from the jump. Yeah. So, you know, that's really our take, is try to get the band's energy in the room first. But then we love, you know, I've done more co-writing as the career has gone and kind of see what's good about that and also what's limiting about it. Sprinkle that in. I mean, our I guess the style of music is pretty broad. We'll go from this sort of folky ballad thing to a pretty arena rock kind of.
When I listened to I'm sorry, I was going to say, when I listened to the single, given the time period in which we came up in the record business, I was like, there's almost a progressive rock thing in here that, intentional or not, my head reads it that way. And it makes me open to the messaging that way. And it was really cool because it was, you know, again, when you have the Stones to say, I'm going to go follow my path, invariably light comes in from that. And then it's just about the receiver receiving. It was funny because I was thinking about Nashville and the degree and extent that John McBride takes engineering serious at Blackbird, and like he wants to do it himself. I was like, this is John shit right here. Like this is just because of your own pride.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Blackbird, we spent We spent a lot of time in there.
Okay. So
we love that. Yeah. And it's always been that way for us. Like, trying to create a new experience for ourselves. And we know that's not like what makes the record, but for us, when we get into an inspired place, we say, hey, we did some stuff at like Nile City and in Dallas, and we did, we did Sound City. We've done, big music as anybody, so the idea is like, could we get in this sacred place and feel something from it, or, and really, a place like Sound City is a good example of just like it forces the drums a certain way. It's just a pretty, like, it's a box. So like anything complicated on the drums is just out. But that's why petty stuff sounded so insane in there. Our thing, so we're just big fans of that kind of thing. So we've always, Wildflowers at Petty Records probably our ultimate engineering, kind of, we just, and Jim Scott we worked with,
Okay. Well, there you go.
So I would say we chase that down, and we understand too that like anybody does, that most fans don't get that or understand or care, but we do feel like when we've done that, we've chased the thing that we liked, that we wanted to do. It was a dream for us, that the inspiration was always there. You know what I mean? And something about it, that feeling of that stuff comes off that way. And they're legends. And Jim Scott is like a great example of like a guy who's like, I always joke about him. He's such a California dude. He's like, we got a good band in here, we got a good studio. Let's just go
I love that. I love that. Now here's the bad part for an athlete. Batter's box. The metaphor is Dave's a pitcher, and you're like Aaron Judge or somebody, and you're supposed to just knock the ball. Just knock the cover off the ball. Just knock it straight out the park. And again, any answer is fine. But the goal is at the end is Dave is defeated. He's been brushed back, and he's probably laying down. He's probably laying down on the mound. And I'm his partner. That's the sad part. All right, Dave, you want to tee up batter's box and let's see what he does?
All right. Major key or minor key? Favorite?
Major.
Inspiration?
Life.
Harmonies?
Everything.
I love harmonies. Lyrics?
Springsteen.
Live or studio?
Live.
Melodies?
Soulful.
Samples?
When needed.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm growing to not like you. Auto-tune.
What is it?
Auto-tune.
Oh, some people need it.
Great at it.
Okay, I should stop, but I'm gonna press on. Guitar pedals.
Few as possible.
Favorite venue to play?
Red Rocks.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm done, man. I'm done. You don't have to tell me I didn't make it to her, because he blew me out the water.
No. Because you're from the South, we both are from the South. What you just experienced was Southern efficiency. Like, it ain't got to be all. We don't have to have a lot of words. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna catch this ball in the end zone. I only have to spike it. I got the touchdown. I'm going back to the bench. That's right.
There you go.
That's how you roll in the South. You just get it done. You don't need all the extra shit. You just get it done. And he just fucking got it done, which is what I love. So, but only, as I tell people, John McBride and I became kind of brothers from another mother. It's a long story, but I used to tell John, because I'm from Canada, but I grew up in Kentucky. Yeah. And I said, John, I speak redneck. And he said, what do you mean? I was like, look, here's the deal. I said, a redneck will come up to you and say, I don't like your kind, but I like you. And he'll be your friend till you die. Literally will be your friend. He can disassociate the groupthink to the personal interaction. And that's a lot more honest than somebody who air kisses you on both cheeks, and then you don't get the bank loan. So you know what I'm saying? So give me the real shit because I recognize it. And man, we've been, there's a truth and honesty that not only comes from the culture, but it comes through in your music. I was curious about, because we often end up with talent relationship. Do you ever take your work and produce other things other than the band? Do you involve yourself with other artists? What's that side of you?
Yeah, I've gotten to where I really love that. I moved to Nashville about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And with that really in mind, just like collaborating. I treat all that as a learning experience, and everything that works is gravy to me.
Gotcha.
I love learning about the co-writers in town, producers in town. Anytime I get in a room with somebody and learn something, I love that part. And I have a side project now called Wilder Woods. It's my solo stuff.
Oh, nice.
And that, it's the most fun. It just, it obviously when you make a band and you start it out, and it's been 20 years, like the train has left the station. This thing is moving.
Right.
Or a certain amount. So I really liked the freedom of that. And even trying to get players to play on it, for the recording and the live stuff has been amazing to me. Cause it's just, I took a gospel band from South Carolina, from Charleston, guy played organ, with D'Angelo.
Oh, really?
I literally went to this church that this guy was playing at years ago, and we just kind of hooked up, and I called him random out of the blue. I was like, dude, you got a band you could put together? He's like, done. So we took that band out, Wilder Woods. So stuff like that to me.
Nice. Love that. Love that.
Yeah, it's challenging. The truth is you can get comfortable with what you do. We know, I kind of know if our fans are going to like a song or not. And I really love that feeling. No idea if people would like, I love this, but let's just see if there's an audience for it. That part's fun.
If you could indulge me, I got turned on about a year ago to an unbelievable singer, was on some of the TV shows, but he's a Nashville guy. His name's Nolan Neal.
Okay.
And this boy can flat out sing. He's your kind of singer, flat out. Right.
Yeah.
I took him to sushi, and he had, overcome some things, and we sat down, and he was on a different political side of the fence than me and all that kind of stuff. And we had this really interesting discussion, but in the middle of the sushi restaurant, he just started singing what he felt, and man, the whole restaurant stopped. And I was like, man, continue, keep going. Cause I come from singers, and I like singers, and I was just like, it's a question of who you're matched with, because your gift is sick. So I'd love to send you a link. He's in Nashville. Tell me what you think. No obligation.
Okay. Yeah, I love that.
Cool. I'll do that. We are fans. Know that. We love that you graced us on your day off. We were aggressive with Alicia, because when Alicia calls, we tend to respond. They've always treated us really well, and I can tell you, because I'm a former and current manager, that I don't know who everybody else is on the team, but Alicia on your behalf is kicking ass. No,
yeah.
She's
hey, here, let me toss this in. Everybody, the tour is called the Never Ending Tour, and the odds are that your city is listed on that tour. Look it up. And go see these guys. You'll be glad you did, particularly if you're a musician or an aficionado of great music.
Well, thank you for that postscript. We're going to cut that out and use that as an ad on television, Dave, for the band school.
That was from my heart. I wish I could go.
You can. When they come to LA, drag your ass over there and go. But anyways, hey man, Bear, we're here for you. Please utilize this platform anytime you want. Tell the rest of the folks in the band, keep on rocking. And that's really the most important thing. Just keep doing you, dude. Just keep doing you. It is more than enough. And the courage and the music meets the church and dad and truth and that is wonderful, man.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. We'll talk to you shortly, guys. This is a band that you want to know of. This is a tour that you want to go to. This is music that you want to follow, and you can catch it here, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Thank you.